What? What? Luke Williams. In what universe did we just witness Luke Williams crush a huge bomb in the bottom of the ninth inning on an 0-1 count to win the baseball game? This Phillies team looked awful. They could not get any hits. They were not producing any runs. Earlier in the game, first couple of innings, so many times they had runners in scoring position. They failed, whether it was Rhys Hoskins on second base due to a poor play. They were trying to do their best Alec Bohm impression, and there was an error throw. Rhys Hoskins gets on second. You got Alec Bohm over at third base. Gene Segura was up with a handful of guys on with 2 outs after Eflin moved some runners. You can't cash in then. It was becoming a nightmare situation, and I hate to say this, but Ricky Bo might have been right. Ricky Bo did state that this could have been season-changing. And the way that it looked, they were getting crushed. They were getting annihilated. They were getting abused. They were getting destroyed by a Braves team after losing yesterday's game. I know it was only 1-0, but seriously, they could not do anything. They could not produce any sort of offense. But Luke Williams. Luke fucking Williams. Wow, what a moment. Just listening to the kid afterwards, getting Gatorade dumped on his face, water dumped on his face, basically crying and tearing up because he couldn't handle his emotions as he shouldn't be able to because it's such a lethal moment and an unbelievable spot. Wow, just crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. We're doing this live, by the way. We're just going to hop right into this bad boy and do it live. I see the chat going crazy. We're going to do the same old anytime hotline calls, so we're taking it the same way. We're just doing it live. I am going to ask the chat right now, though. Is everything okay visually? Is everything all right? Is the mouth and the way that I'm not wording my mouth, of course I know I'm wording my mouth. That doesn't even make sense. But is my voice lined up properly with the words that are coming out audio-wise? Because when you do it live, it's a little bit differently than doing it in post-production. So I don't know if that sentence even made sense. But the chat says everything's good, all good, all good. Okay, so we're going to continue to fly into this thing. It was a 1-0 game, and it looked like it was going to be a dud. Zach Eflin grinded and mowed down as much as he possibly could. In the sixth, there were some dinky hits, some singles in play. They generated some buzz there. They got their 1 run, and Contreras was ridiculous. He had a handful of hits. So did Ozzie Albies, but when he gets that RBI knock and gets that 1 run on the board, it was a little deflating because Zach Eflin struggled against him for the most part. But I'll tell you what, he cruised. He finished the day with 6 innings, 1 earned run, only 2 walks, 7 Ks. Did allow 8 hits, but he was in cruise control. Changeup to both sides of the plate. It doesn't matter. The changeup was very nice. Zach Eflin's pitching with confidence. It's nothing really new. We've seen him excel pretty much all season long, giving you 6 innings. And how about Ranger Suarez? Ranger Suarez was absurd. 3 innings, 0 hits, 0 walks, 3 strikeouts. He's not really flying under the radar. I think he's actually getting a lot of praise, and he's getting a lot of recognition. But Ranger Suarez, since getting his nod, has been absolutely outstanding, and he's been delivering in pretty much every single damn moment. What is Ranger Suarez? I honestly have no idea. I truthfully don't know the answer to that, but I'll tell you what, I'm here enjoying the ride because when he gets his number called, I'm super stoked. I'm super pumped up. I'm amped. I can't wait. I'm anticipating now the Ranger Suarez moment. I demand it. I need to see it. I would have never thought I'd be demanding Ranger Suarez, and my excitement level would be through the roof, but he has been absurd. Now, Andrew McCutchen, he put together an at-bat in the 9th inning that was crazy good. Professional, gets on first base, and what do you know? Luke Williams off Will Smith on an 0-1 count. It was just genius. As soon as it left the bat, I knew. As soon as it left the bat, I said, yup, 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 yup. Did you see his reaction, too, running around the bases? I mean, you talk about pure enjoyment, pure excitement, living in the moment, almost, honestly, being in shock mode and pure joy. You could just see the raw, natural emotions taking over his body. He's smiling at the dugout when he's running to home plate, and the crowd, the crowd, yeah, they were going wild, but the crowd of teammates hovering the dish as he's running, his hair's going wild. It's just one of those sports moments that you love. Now, it's funny because I heard Michael Barkan ask Ben Davis during that crossover that they do on the post-game show, what is Luke Williams? Well, he had a good bunt last game, and he's bringing the energy, and he looks to be a ball player, and I'm laughing the whole time because, to a degree, here we go again. We said the same things about Nick Maton. We were all excited about Nick Maton. It's way too early to really have a judgment on what Luke Williams is going to be and how splashy he is and how amazing he's going to be for the long run. Come on, Nick Maton, Scott Kingery. Speak of Scott Kingery, geez, are we ever going to see him again? Talk about one of the worst contracts we've ever had when it comes to just throwing money around. Oh, yeah, you never played before? Don't worry about it. You don't need to actually play. Why would you need to actually play? That's ridiculous. Here, take our money. You could be the second baseman of the future. What's that? Oh, what's that? Yeah, your ass is gone. See you later. Just crazy. Now, I'm not going to lie. The last couple of days, I haven't been able to fully sit down and watch the 9-inning baseball game that I would like to. On Tuesday night, I went to the Sixers game, and the Sixers played the same time as the Phillies. On Sunday, it was the same thing. They were off on Monday. Keep in mind. So Sunday, same thing. The Sixers played the same exact time as the Phillies, and then afterwards, I was on 97.5 The Fanatic. So the last 2 days, I haven't been able to be as engaged as I like to be with this Phillies team. And at the same time, they're just giving you horrendous play with poor defense. And you know what I watched? I watched afterwards, and I went back and checked out Aaron Nola. I went back and I checked out Connor Brogdon. I went back and I watched Alec Boehm, and I watched Rhys Hoskins, and I watched all of these players. I wanted to see what I missed on that first game of this Braves series. And I mean, it's just a joke, right? Rhys Hoskins, I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing over at first base, why he's shaded that far over to the first baseline where he can't make a simple play. I don't know what's going on when we're trying to make a simple throw to second base, and it's mayhem and bad news bears all over again. This team is just egregious. You actually have the lead. Somehow, someway, they had the lead in game one of this series, and Connor Brogdon didn't look like he had a bunch of confidence. You could tell by his body language. He looked defeated, and here goes the Braves taking it for a run. His team is just a disaster. There's no denying it. I know this is a feel-good moment, and we should be positive, but I'll tell you what, you snagged one. You snagged one. And you got to hope and pray that this could be something that helps turn the tables. They won the series against the Washington Nationals. It might have not have been the greatest thing you've ever seen. It might have not have been the best baseball your eyes have witnessed. But they did win a series against the Nationals. They needed to do it. And they had the Spencer Howard drama. They had the Vince Velasquez drama. Well, that wasn't necessarily the case here. You had the Aaron Nola drama. And by the way, Aaron Nola was not good. Not good. His ERA in the first inning makes me want to vomit. I have no clue what happened to him whatsoever. But with Aaron Nola, it was Aaron Nola versus Drew Smyly, and you lost the game 9-5. It's just an embarrassment. But he went 5 innings. That's it. 4 earned runs, allowed 7 hits. In what universe? Aaron Nola, I know he's better, and I don't anticipate him being this garbage forever. He's not the Cy Young year that he was, and realistically, he was more of that third guy of the conversation. Anyway, it's nice to be recognized in that moment and in that area and with those pitchers in the National League, but he's been in the league way long enough for us to recognize that that was the outlier. You know what's funny? Remember when he had that complete game and he had that shutout and everyone's like, that's my ace. That's my ace. I told you he could be the ace. Come on. Who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? You didn't fool me. You didn't fool me. Aaron Nola, I know there's more left in the tank. I know he's a better baseball player than he's putting on display. But when he lacks the fastball command, you can see so many times. When you look at what he's throwing and the way that he's throwing his pitches and the sequence of it, it's just not making sense. And you can tell when he's going to the breaking pitches, when he's going off speed. It's all out of whack. It's all out of touch. And he's throwing pitches that don't make a lot of sense. And I think it's because he doesn't have a lot of confidence in other areas. But, I mean, you don't have a lot of confidence in a lot of areas right now, Nola. You really don't. And when you start lacking command with one of your pitchers that's supposed to set the damn tone, well, guess what? It's going to be a long night for you. So here's what I do know. You might have snagged one away from the Braves, but this Braves team is not good. They are not a good team. They are underachieving, and they're having their own internal issues as well, just like the Phillies red pinstripes are. So the Nationals are not good either. But if you could beat the Nationals and then win on this Thursday afternoon tilt with Zach Wheeler on the mound, I'm not telling you that that's the best thing to witness baseball-wise, purely talking strictly on the diamond, whether it's poor offense, whether it's another error from Alec Boehm, who just sails the ball 10,000 feet high over Rhys Hoskins, which forces Zach Eflin to throw more pitches, and he has to work around this bases-loaded opportunity. Now, to be fair, he got out of the jam, and Alec Boehm made a couple of defensive plays, whether it's throwing it to JT Realmuto at home plate, whether it's touching third base. And it's funny because in that moment where it was the second inning, I'm back to game 2, by the way. I'm back to this game right now, that 2-1 victory. I don't want you guys to get too confused on where exactly I am here, because I am bouncing around game 1 and game 2 to a degree. But in game 2, where was I going with that? I seriously just lost my train of thought because I was explaining which game I was discussing. I was talking about Alec Boehm. Oh, yes. The Braves, it seemed, elected to, because it was bases loaded with one out. To get Ronald Acuna up with a chance, they wanted to strike out on purpose to limit the double play ball. The last thing they wanted to do was hit a double play. So they seriously said, go strike out. Don't swing, stand in the box, just stay there so we can have Acuna up with bases loaded and 2 outs. We'll take that. We don't want you to have a shot. We don't want you to have a chance. Jeez, man, that really ended up backfiring considering the Phillies got out of that without any runs. But I'll tell you what, that's a very interesting philosophy. I'm not telling you that Ronald Acuna is someone that I wouldn't want to have up. Of course that's someone I would want to have up. Of course that's someone that I know can change the game with one swing. But still, I'm not passing up on outs. Since with this statistical, analytical baseball game that we have today, I know Ronald Acuna's numbers are going to pop off the screen and smack you in the face, but one of the big narratives all around is I don't want to bunt because if I bunt, that gives away outs. This whole conversation really does stem from giving away outs, yet you're just perfectly fine with giving away outs with bases loaded. I just thought it was an interesting dynamic, and it honestly ended up backfiring. Eflin got out of that. There was a 4th inning. It wasn't a 1-2-3 inning, but in the 4th inning, there were 3 strikeouts involved for Zach Eflin. So, I mean, he cruised, man. He really did for the most part for his 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. And, you know, it's crazy. He's not afraid of contact, right? And that's what makes him very good, and that's what makes him very intriguing. He's not afraid of pitching the contact. And with that being said, his strikeout numbers have been just such a fantastic watch, for sure. I love watching Zach Eflin. I mean, you can make the argument that he is your number 2 right now behind Zach Wheeler. And I don't know if that really tells you how insane Zach Eflin is, or is that more of a product of Aaron Nola? Because if Aaron Nola was the Aaron Nola that we've seen him be for more years than not, well, then he's still plugged in front of Zach Eflin. So that's not to knock Zach Eflin, but that's also not to say Zach Eflin has been so elite that he's a number 2. It's more so that your number 2 guy in Aaron Nola, really your number 1 guy theoretically. Why does that sound horrendous? Why does that sound just awful? I don't know, but you get my point. It's been a weird ride for Aaron Nola. There were some big defensive plays for sure. Ronald Suarez, this man just continues to play good baseball. He's done an excellent job stepping up for Didi Gregorius not being available. It's been crazy. He made the play where Zach Eflin tries to turn 2. Eflin made a very poor pass. I'm thinking of basketball. I'm watching the Suns game out there on the other side of this wall right now on the wall. The Suns game's going on. You had the Stanley Cup game between the Bruins and the Islanders. I'm thinking basketball. I'm thinking hockey. I'm throwing pass out there. He's making a throw to second base to turn 2. The ball was way too far over. Suarez is on the ground, and has his foot on the ground. He still turns 2 with this wild, amazing throw. Originally, they thought his foot was off the bag. They thought his toe was off the bag. You're wrong. Let's go back to the replay booth, shall we? And by the way, behind the dish today, really, the amount of times I watched Zach Eflin throw paint, the amount of times I watched Zach Eflin put one right through the bottom half of the zone where the ball was fully. I'm not talking 50%. I'm not talking 30%. I'm not talking just nicking the edge of the outside part of the zone. I'm talking the entire ball. 100% of the baseball was in the bottom left corner, and I'm watching behind the dish. Ball! What? The hell are you looking at, you jerk off? Huh? What are you looking at? You jag off? Anyway, turn 2. Ronald Suarez saved one big time. I have too many bad memories of pitchers trying to throw to second base and the ball just being a disastrous throw, and it's all over the place, and you know the rest of the story. We've seen it literally 6,000 times so far this season. And there was that awesome play at short where he dove full extension, got up, threw it to Rhys. And I'll tell you what, every time I watch Rhys Hoskins stop a baseball when it comes to a pick, I swear to God he has no idea what he's doing. He has literally no idea what he's doing. It's really hard to fathom. It's really hard to think about. And it's, you just, honestly, realistically, you cannot win with your corner defense being this terrible. Rhys Hoskins, god-awful defensively. Alec Boehm, this is the worst I've seen. It's so bad. It's so bad what he does defensively at third base. I've never seen anything like it. You don't have a winning product when those are your answers defensively at the corners. You got to get better than that. And, the DH. And, Alec Boehm should be playing first base and this and that. You have all these brutal defenders that you need to try and maneuver around. There's a reason why there's 13,500 people or so in the stadium. Good. I want it to be this way. I want it to be where John Middleton realizes that there is such a terrible thing going on. And by the way, just speaking of terrible thing, this is just a description of where this organization is, right? Joe Girardi is talking about Mickey Moniak, our number 1 draft pick of a few years back, more than just a few years back at this point. And he goes, he's not really a center fielder. We see him more as a corner outfielder. Well, Mickey Moniak was asked, he goes, no, I see myself as a center outfielder. With all due respect to Joe Girardi, I'm like, damn, who the hell do you think you are? I mean, I to a degree, you can look at it one way and be like, all right, Mickey, stand up for yourself. If you think of yourself that highly, good. I want you to have that type of confidence with you. At the same time, it's, who the hell do you think you are? What have you shown? What have you done? You had your chance. You had your opportunity to win the job at the major league level, and you failed. But it just shows you the dysfunction of this organization where Joe Girardi comes in, he says your number 1 pick of a few years ago isn't a center fielder, and he's just not. And then the center fielder returns and responds by saying, yes, I am. I see myself as a center fielder. It's horrible. I hope John Middleton realizes where this is. And, as much as this is a good feel and this is an amazing night, there's so many damn questions about this team that just makes it miserable. So I'm having a hard time trying to have my emotions in check here. I'm working on, since missing the last 2 games, I'm working on somewhat just kind of getting back into the flow of this team and where they're at. And at the same time, we know that they are just awful. You would like to say, in theory, well, this saved the season. This big hit by Nick Maton, or not Nick Maton, that's where we're at now, right? We're throwing around all these AAA guys, Jankowski, Maton, Kingery, Hazley, DeReyes, even though he's been, around the block with the Yankees and whatnot. But, I'm saying, like, all these names. Like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about Luke Williams. Just crazy. But, yeah, Luke Williams, are we at the point where he saved the season? I don't know. You throw up an egg tomorrow, and it's the same damn thing. But Zach Wheeler's on the mound. You gotta give him some run support. You got to give him some legitimate play. You got to knock in some runs. You can't have Rhys Hoskins pretty much providing nothing but an error throw at the plate. You can't have Bryce Harper striking out 3 times. Now, game 1 of this series, he hit a homer. And Alec Boehm has been hitting the ball better. There's been a little spark. There's been a little uprise with his at-bats, and he did have a hit today, but I still like to see him do it a little bit more consistently and make this push, make this something serious, not just a little joke, a little ha-ha. I need to see it sustained a bit more, but we need some offense tomorrow. We had 0 runs. We went through a stretch of nobody getting ahead, so many batters put away consistently. It was your typical nonsense. You just escaped one because Will Smith made a poor decision. All right, let's get to the chat and the Anytime Hotline. But first, let me tell you about my friends over at DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It is easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Listen to this great offer. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on any basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code Brodes for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only. Wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, you know the deal. Let's get to the Anytime Hotline. Let's play some calls. Here we go.
Man, I was at the game last night, and that was a lot of fun. Even though we lost. But today, this ending for Luke Williams, that was unbelievable, man. And there are some struggles buried in there. Like we didn't have a base runner since the fourth before that ninth. But, man, Luke Williams and that post-game interview and the way he rounded first, and, I mean, he was crying. I bet your fiance was crying the same way when she got a new ring from DeSimone Jewelers. That's how special this was. I'm joking, but, man, what a moment. What a genuine moment right there, bro. How about that, man?
Dude, that was amazing. That's pretty funny by you. That's pretty damn good, the ending there. With the fiance. I didn't know where you were going there. I was thinking, well, she didn't watch the baseball game with me tonight. She was watching Netflix or watching Chopped or watching something else upstairs. I had the dog came down with me tonight. It's always a nice feeling when Renzo chooses me over her. But we went on a long walk this late evening. So he's like, oh, I love my father tonight. Let me lay with him instead of my mother. And I'm like, good for you. You made a great decision, Renzo. You watched a walk-off homer. Although he was snoring on the side and I could hear him breathing heavy and his arms started to twitch. And I'm like, yes! Fuck yes! At the end, and he jumped up and looked at me. So maybe he hates me. Maybe he loves me. I don't know. I love him. Regardless, though, it was an awesome moment. I actually had some friends of mine. They went down to the game, and they ended up leaving early because they thought it was done. They thought it was over, and I've been there. I've left games early and then something crazy happened. I went to the Stadium Series game where Claude Giroux beat the Penguins in overtime. I left early. It was raining. It was a mess. I miss baseball games where I left in the 8th inning, 9th inning. I'm like, screw it. They're done. So I've been there before. Who am I to really judge? But damn, to see that moment, that would be very unfortunate to dip out on this one. Good for you, 13,500. I'm curious to see what does this do for the team. Does this spark them? Does this make them take down the Braves? And if so, even though you can only control what's in front of you, you can only control the schedule that is lined out. So if you play the Nats and you play the Braves, that's your division. They are extremely important games. All I'm saying is the Nats and the Braves stink. But you got to win series. The name of the game, win series. So what does this really mean? I don't know. I think I've seen enough of this team. Nothing's going to change. So it's hard. I'm trying my best to kind of figure out exactly where we are, what's happening. But for the most part, I mean, come on. We're going to do sloppy defense. We're going to have horrible errors. Our bullpen is going to blow games at times. Our offense is going to stink and be miserable and not produce. So when I react game by game and knowing where they sit and knowing where they stand and just knowing where they are overall in the grand scheme of things here in baseball, we've seen enough games at this point where it's hard. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It's truly hard because this team just rips the fun out of you with baseball. You got it tonight, though, at the end. You did have it tonight. So as you can see, I'm just trying to figure this all out here. Where am I? What am I doing here? What are my feelings right now? It's a roller coaster of emotions for sure.
To everyone that said game was over, that said we were getting shut out, that said the Braves would sweep. In the words of Drew Carey, you can now officially shut up! What a moment for Luke Williams tonight. First Major League home run. Fourth Phillies to do it in walk-off fashion. Let's go out and win this series tomorrow. I'm actually going to be going back in tomorrow. Let's get it with our ASAP Miller. Right? I say you.
What? Does anybody know what was just said? Does anybody know what was just said by the individual? I think the moral of the story is, how dare you? How dare you call this off? How dare you say this game is over? And I think this same caller did the same thing just a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. There was another game where it looked like the Phillies were dead. It looked like the Phillies were done. And then they came back and won. And I go, yeah, because what it was, I think the Phillies went down like 2-0. I'm not going to find it, so I don't know why I pulled out my phone. But there was a game a few weeks ago where Aaron Nola, or who was it? I think it was Aaron Nola. They were down 2-0 in the first inning. I said, here we go again. This team is just, forget about it. And they ended up coming back, and I quote tweeted it and said, this is the best tweet of my life. And that same caller called me out. I can't believe, what do you mean you can't believe it? How can you not believe it? I think everyone should believe it. Everyone should believe that they're going to get shut out in that moment. Why? Because they've been a disaster basically all season. Majority of the time they would get shut out in that moment. What are the odds that Luke Williams was going to step up? Come on now. I think it's the right feeling to say, oh, damn, we're screwed. Considering you looked at how the bats were going all day. I mean, come on. It was a miracle what happened. Now, you got to give credit. It all started with Andrew McCutchen. I mean, really, Andrew McCutchen, there's so many guys here that I think deserve a lot of praise, right? I mean, it's Andrew McCutchen for the at-bat where he really grinded and he earned himself that first base. And keep in mind, you were not getting on the base paths. You were not getting any runners. Early on, you did. You had plenty of chances. Reese on second, a few guys in scoring position with 2 outs with Gene Segura early on. I believe that was specifically the second inning. You had guys on and nothing. Then you go for a long period of time sitting there, when was the last time? Really, when was the last time we did anything positive at the plate? It was just nonsense over and over and over again. Nonsense. Well, eventually, they got it with McCutchen. And Ronald Torreyes deserves a lot of praise. And Ranger Suarez deserves a lot of praise. I mean, there are guys that deserve it. But damn. I think it makes a lot of sense to feel negative when it's the 9th inning and there's nothing going on offensively, and this team had a dud all game long. I think that's the right way to feel.
Oh my God, bro. Luke Williams just walked it off in the bottom of the 9th inning off of Will Smith. Let's go! Man, that was fantastic. I feel like he better not be Scott Kingery when Scott Kingery walked it off versus the Braves last year in the 9th inning as well. But, man, that was fantastic. Eflin, he was solid. Those 3 things left in that 1 inning, but he was great.
So the thing with Scott Kingery, and we're all making the assumptions on what this guy can be, what can he become, how special is he. I think we're going too far right now, and I mean, we got Michael Barkin asking, what is he? We just saw the same thing happen to Nick Maytime. We saw the same thing happen to Scott Kingery. We might have overreacted to how elite Alec Boehm was right off the jump. I got nothing for you. I mean, it was a good moment. That's all it is for me. It was a good, fun, exciting moment. The pure reaction of it. You just think about the beauty of sports and the entertainment value with sports and how wild it can be and how absurd and just filled with pure excitement. I mean, you got it all. We're all starting to claim, like, what can he be? He's a ball player. He's this, he's that. We said the same thing about all these guys. When is it time to realize that it's basically a joke? We need to wait. Before we start getting too far ahead of ourselves.
Luke fucking Williams.
That's it, huh? Luke fucking Williams. I think that's fair. I don't think I am going to fight against that statement at all. All right, let's run into some of the chat here. Let's go into the chat. The chat room is flying. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. I'm just doing the podcast live as if I would if I was recording it myself. I just kind of hopped into it. I did it a few times over the weekend, but we're just going to kind of give it a go here and there. So Let's see. What Johnster says, I just said, what a moment by Luke Williams. Fourth Philly to hit his first major league homer in a walk-off. That's crazy, right? So you do what you do the first time where you're getting a bunt in play and you're being aggressive on the base paths and you're having some fun with it the last game. And then after that, you get your first extra base hit when he got a double. A nice rope down the third base line. Good barrel on ball. Recognized the pitch. Swung, bang. How do you do? Gets on second base. And then the ninth inning when this team looked like that they were going to get defeated. And think about the morale of all of us. Think about how this changed a lot of the energy surrounding the team for tomorrow. I mean, we would have been crushing this team. We would have been pissed. We would have been spitting. The spit would have been flying out of our mouths. We would have lost it internally and externally as a fan base. We would have been just destroyed because it would have been another bad loss. Would have added it to the books. This summer's going to be long. Luckily, we have the Sixers. I mean, seriously, think about where we would have been if it wasn't for this hit. It would have been a huge black cloud and rain just following the Phillies for tomorrow. What an at-bat from Kutch. No doubt about it, Nick. It was really insane. It really was. No matter how bad the Phillies are, I'm grateful we aren't the Pirates. I don't know if I can do that. I really can't, because you know what? I don't give a damn about I don't give a damn about anybody else who's struggling, because any other teams that struggle outside of Philadelphia, they don't really impact my life. There's a few. The Cowboys struggling is always different. The Giants struggling is always different. There's teams like even the Braves struggling. Sure, I mean it does hit different, but for the most part, I don't care. I can't sit here and say at least we're not another team. You know, at least we're not another team. I can't do that. That's not for me personally. TJ says, if we aren't in contention at the deadline, blow it up. Trade Didi, trade Gene, trade Hoskins, have an infield with Williams, Stott, and Bohm. Let them get reps for the future. I mean, that would still be, there's so much dissection in that where, like we're trading Didi. I don't even know how much value he has coming off of this arm issue with the inflammation and whatnot. Gene Segura's contract is a huge problem when it comes to trading. Now we're building around Luke Williams. I mean, I don't even think that that's fair to even have that conversation right now. Bryson Stott, I know he's having some success, but I do think that there's some legitimacy to having to kind of tweak this thing pretty heavily. But when you sign JT, when you sign Bryce Harper, when you have Gene Segura's contract, when you sign Didi to the contract that you do, and then he gets injured and now you're in a spot, when you have Zach Wheeler playing this way, there really isn't room to, quote, blow this thing up and just force guys out there. It's not really where you're at. You just got to pray that when Andrew McCutchen's time is up after the season, when moves like that happen. Now, Rhys Hoskins, I'm willing to have that conversation. I really am. Sixers 205 says this team isn't built for the rebuild. You are correct. They are not. WT Killer, I understand wanting Ranger starting, but I don't want to take him out of our bad bullpen. Nice to have that type of reliable arm. Yeah, there's some legitimacy to that. I don't know what his role is, to be honest with you. I think that he's succeeding right now. He's doing it at such an efficient pace that you're right. There's something to what he's doing. Has he found himself? Is this what Ranger Suarez's calling is? But when he gives you multiple, like we've done this piggyback thing for a bit now, whether it's Zach Eflin tonight, he gave you 3 strong innings. Suarez, that is, not Eflin. Eflin gave you 6. But with Suarez after Spencer Howard, he goes a bit of a distance. Could he be an opener? Could he do something like the Tampa Bay Rays? But the Phillies are not educated enough to do anything like that. They're not analytically in the right spot for me to believe that they have that under the works to do properly. So I don't want them to do that. But I'm with you. I don't know what it is. There's something to it, but you found something solid right now. Do you keep him in this role or do you try and start him? I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. I'm interested to see what happens from here. So I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out during this live stream. Phillies play tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's see if they can win the rubber match, as the kids say these days. And then a Friday off. Another Friday off. Whoever made this schedule, what are you doing? What do you do? Do you know what you're doing? Obviously you don't, because it's a joke. Another Friday off. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's a series. That's a series. By the way, you got the Yankees on the weekend. Even though they had a big win today, they haven't been the best version of themselves. Then you go to the Dodgers. You have the Giants. Things get interesting. This Phillies team, they got a test, and I wonder if they're going to answer the test correctly. answered the questions on the test correctly. Something like that. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I'll see you tomorrow on Coffee with Brodes. Have a good one, everyone.